Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Elves and Greenskins here on the Haunted Vale. It's going to be myself with Larry and her big old monster circus. So we do have the Merworm, we have an Arcane Phoenix, and a Sea Elemental is going to be my first summon. So it's a pretty hog-wild monster build. Going to be seeing if they can endure the wrath of the Greenskins. Shadow Warriors to pick off the lightly armored units, and then some Rangers and Larry for the healing. So for Flying Taco, his build really caught me off guard. It is actually a hell of a lot of Goblin Rock Lobbers, so he's got 3 of those, which I was actually thinking about going for like Phoenix Guard and Elite High Elves, and if I had done that, I would have had such a bad time against this artillery. I love his playstyle, it's so fun. But he's got 3 of those, Mass Savage Orcs, and Black Orcs as well. So he has Shielded Black Orcs, as well as a Great Open Black Orcs, and a Goblin Shaman, who's just going to be sniping and buffing. So that is going to be it. So out of the gates here, we're going to be popping up and putting a little bit of hurt down on these Savage Orcs with the Arcane Phoenix. So they are weak to magic damage, being a Phys Res unit. And the Shadow Warriors will be a very, very good counter against them as well. So here comes the Shadow Warrior volley. There it goes. And that looks pretty cool. The arrows will blot out the sky. And the Savage Orcs are going to have a really bad time. Going down to about half health out of the gates is a big win. While the Merwookie over here is just going to be spinning and tail whipping. He is an anti-large monster, but still hits pretty hard. With 700 weapon strength, he can do some work. Also using the Arcane Phoenix Bombardment on the Orc Boys, trying to stifle their advance a little bit. And normally I would feel very comfy with my Shadow Warriors. It'd be like, okay, I want him to chase me and try and dive them, then I call out Fireborn to punish him. But in this case, he's got the Rock Lobbers, and they're putting consistent damage down on my Shadow Warriors. Definitely not fun. So Orc Boys here do get wavered, and Larry the Radiant going to be going after these Savage Orcs, while a couple Rangers do overextend, and he counter call-ins with some, I believe some Cav. Yeah, it's going to be Squig Herds there. And the battle continues to rage on, looking okay for us, but we are taking some heavy damage on our Shadow Warriors. But we have also killed the Savage Orc unit, well, at least routed one, really damaged the other one, and doing some okay work against the Orc Boy. So yes, I wanted to go Monster Circus here, and here comes the Sea Elemental, so it's going to be scooting up here to try and shut down the Orc Boys and these other units. This game is taking place on the new patch they had, so they basically did a lot of changes, which I'll be going over on one of my upcoming live streams. But yeah, a lot of changes to some of the early stuff. Shadow Warriors shooting over here, shooting into the Squig Herd. Squigs are really weak against bows. They only have 50 armor and not much in the way of missile resist at all, so they are going to eat that. And I'm just kind of diving around, seeing what goodies I can get right now, while Wookiee as well as the Arcane Phoenix and Larry just looking for freebies. But now he's starting to get trolls out. The trolls, of course, will be okay against the big monsters. The issue being is their leadership. So if they do get hammered by a couple of big monsters, shot by some arrows, those guys can break very, very quickly. Arcane Phoenix is going to be diving into the backfield. I was kind of testing the waters here to see if he had any defenses for his artillery, because if he didn't, Phoenix could just kind of sweep through and clean those up. In the meantime, the Merworm and the Sea Elemental continue boinking, and the Shadow Warriors are shooting very, very happily. So I am down a little bit on value, but overall sitting in a reasonably comfortable position. Sea Elemental will be moving on to the objective to make sure we don't lose it. And that's the big thing. If you're playing like SE monster builds or these kind of builds in general, it's very important to make sure you don't lose your one objective if you have the smaller, more elite army. Because if you get triple capped, that's a huge win condition for them. And they're going to really stuff you back, and then they can start targeting the point and making it very miserable. But here, the Monster Mash is working. If this was land battle, this would be quite forbidden. But the Sea Elemental, as well as the Merworm, able to break those Orc units, and my Shadow Warriors just kind of returning the favor. Should have probably shot at Ruggled's Armored Orcs, but they do have 70 armor and shields, so I was a little bit suspicious about doing that. Trolls are back, more Trolls back this way, and Arcane Phoenix is going to be diving on the Ruggled's Orcs, more importantly, diving with some Arcane Magic. So here it comes, the dive bomb, and that's going to be a nice one right in the middle of that unit. He fires at the Phoenix, going to be cooking some of these Orcs and taking them down about 30-40% of their HP. Arcane Phoenixes are great monsters. Also getting the Sea Elemental on top of the Black Orcs, but Unstoppable Choppa's 84 weapon strength is no joke. All of those Black Orcs surrounding is basically like a Legendary Lord hitting this thing. So they're going to keep going, and they do have the sneaky stabbing as well. So they're going to be, well, not really stabbing, more like hitting with a big blunt weapon, but suddenly, a situation that I thought was going to be easy, where I just farm these Black Orcs, is a little bit dodgy. Ruggled's Armored Orcs back online shooting, and the Trolls have good enough mass, and they are Stone Trolls, so they're a little bit more stalwart than their cousins. And my Sea Elemental, I do pop the Writhing Mist ability to get the missile block chance, and I'm going to be scurrying away here. So now it looks like Taco's going to be going for an all-in, so not all-in, a big dive, an Alpha Strike, I should say. But he's going to be coming to try and steal Objective 1. So I knew I needed to fall back and hold this here. Sea Elemental is going to continue running, as my archers do kite back. And even though I'm down by a couple thousand value, with monster builds, you really have to look at it differently. Because until those monsters are offline, they're going to be cooking and really causing quite a bit of havoc. All right, so Earthblood activated on the Sea Elemental, and we also get the Star of Avalorns. That's going to be huge heals for the Merwookie, as well as the Sea Elemental, and the bird is going to be getting the scraps there as well. Reavers and Spearmen are on their way in to buffer my ranks so the monsters aren't isolated, and the objective currently is being flipped. So the Greenskins do have the Orc Boys and the Savage Orcs here, as well as some Boar Boys. Getting my archers to shoot into the Pork Boys back here, yes. I mean, basically is what they are, Pork Boys. Shooting into them. Goblin Spear's wavering and terrified, and we're continuing to try and get the Greenskins off the point. If I lose this, it's going to be really, really bad. Yeah, I'm obviously already on the clock because of the 2 objective situation here, so I really need to hold this and just eventually break the back of the Greenskin army with the big monster blobs. In this case, the Spearmen do arrive at the last second, very, very clutch, so they're going to be protecting that while the Rahagras Pride dives into the Savage Orcs, and Larry going to be chilling back here, continuing to provide healing where she can. Sea Elemental attacking in, Spearmen going to be surging forth, and the Sea Elemental is going to be retreating to the cover of spears. These are just regular Boar Boys, so they're not even particularly good against the big monsters, but they're not terrible either. They do have some decent charge bonus. And those damn rock lobbers, you know, my Shadow Warrior's really, really getting the dirty from his like 400 gold artillery over the course of this game, which has been nasty. But we do salvage our point and get some good terror routes. The Savage Orc Boar Boys going to be on the run right here. Here we have an Earthblood going down on the big Sea Elemental. And in the meantime, the Shadow Warriors are now going to be getting harried pretty good. As Boar Boy Biggins do rally, they come back from over here, going to be diving in, and my Reavers are going to have to fight them. Now, Boar Boys without anti-large, just the regular Boar Boys, these ones unfortunately are the armored anti-large ones, but regular Boar Boys actually do not trade super well into Reavers from a cost perspective. But I sacrifice a Reaver unit to try and salvage the Shadow Warriors while the artillery keeps bombarding me here. On the objective, the Monster Mash is going all right. The Trolls are a little bit shaken up, and the Merworm, let's get in there and just admire how glorious the Merworm is. So he's going to keep boinking, and oh my god, he does look like he looks very much like a pug. So he's going to be rolling over some of those guys right there. Hopefully getting some terror routes here soon. Black Orcs, unfortunately, are immune to psychology, and the Orcs have been doing really good. So far, the Great opens up to 800 value, which ain't bad at all. A couple spears on the way in, falling behind on points a little bit, and I am obviously down in value, but I've had a metric ton of healing on these units. So, you know, there's obviously probably been, if they're approaching healing cap, that's like a couple thousand value tied up on these units, and they're still functional in the field. So, hoping the Wookiee will be able to fend off the Stone Trolls, which it looks like they do. His anti-large attack, very, very nice here, and I wonder if he has like a tail whipping one. I know he's got like the body slams. Yeah, he really likes the body slams. That's how he rolls. Yep, Stone Trolls do get broken there. Arcane Phoenix and the Sea Elemental going to continue fighting against the Vlorks. And Alariel the Radiant going to be working out of the wings, trying to stay away from the threats because she's getting a little bit low. Spearmen are making their way up. Silver and Guard are going to be a good counter against most of these units, but yeah, I do lose the objective, which is very, very sketchy. But Sea Elemental now getting low, and we do see Ruglad's Armored Orcs just pounding in. And so far, they're up to 2,400 frickin' value. Absolutely insane. Their Star of Avalorn going to be big, basically going to healing cap the Sea Elemental. The Arcane Phoenix has not been taking much damage at all. The Phoenixes are actually a little bit harder to kill because they're smaller targets, so if you have them like embroiled in, it seems not as many units can pile in and hit them, and also they're more resilient against archers. But again, they don't have capture weight, and they're not going to be quite as like brutal in the fights in my experience. More of like a sniping piece. Granted, the Arcane Phoenix I'm sure is doing okay. So we do break the Greenskins here. A lot of their units are starting to run. The Wookiee, though, is on the precipice of running as well. A little bit of a split push going down here with the Ship's Company. So the Ship's Company going to be taking down these goblins and hopefully flipping my objective, because that's my win con, really. I need to flip this objective, rally the Merworm, and then come back, hammer objective 1 with my monsters, and get going from there. So the Merworm is at 2,000 HP, which is still pretty functional. Sea Elemental still going relatively strong over here, and Arcane Phoenix not in bad shape also. But the Orcs are still numerous, and the Black Orcs have really just been the menace. These shielded Great Open Black Orcs with the Unstoppable Choppas have just been putting a hurt on my monsters. Sitting at 1,800 value, I didn't expect them to do so good in the anti-large fight, but them just sitting there with high-ass weapon strength from their Unstoppable Choppas. We did see that in the last World Championship. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Daniken Chop. He was using the Black Orcs with great weapons and using the Unstoppable Choppas and really getting a ton of value. So I do try and Arcane Unforge the Great Shaman. I was really hoping he would slip up and overextend and I could just kill him with the 3 monsters, but Taco, very, very good micro, obviously. Pulls back there. So now we get the Fireborn in. Fireborn going to be surging to knock down these Trolls, so a little bit of an awkward formation, but they are a hard counter against Trolls. Granted, Trolls give it back to them a little bit too. And the Rock Lobbers, dude! Oh my god, the damage. That Rock Lobber volley from those 2 Rock Lobbers just ended the career of the Fireborn, and now they're going to get piled in on. Granted, I will address the sandwich as well, but the Rock Lobbers really did the heavy lifting. So now I'm going to be consolidating towards my strength, calling in the Wookiee, the Sea Elemental, and Larry, and trying to win this blob fight here with Terror. We'll see if we can. In the meantime, Ship's Company going to be grinding out goblins, and that objective will flip to me, so that was very fortunate. Granted, I think it might be a little bit too hard here, guys. We do have the Illyrian Reavers going, we do have the Sea Elemental fighting it out, and yeah, it's going to be a tough one to crack. Fireborn charging into the blob, you know, getting some decent damage against the troll units. But the Merwookie is going to be broken. He's at 1,000 leadership, or 1,000 HP and -8. Probably will not rally. He might come back, but from here, I'm at what? My opponent's at 1,200 points, and I do have one objective, but I don't really have a lot of objective agency, and he has a couple ITP infantry units and just waves and waves of units. I did not do enough damage or break his formations enough to really, really crack this game open. So from here, basically just grinding a little bit. The Sea Elemental will get some cute plays and do all right, but overall, I'm just simply not going to have enough time. You can see I'm really struggling to get out of this position, while on this side, he collapses with his superior army. And the value did get closed. The value, I'm actually kind of probably close. With healing taken into account, but my monsters just didn't quite generate enough, and in terms of their damage, and Wookiee is tired of this shit. He's going back to the sea. He's like, why do I even bother fighting on land? I'm a naval, I'm a maritime creature, a sea creature. Why am I even here? So we do break this position, right? Here the Black Orcs start to get worn down. We have the Phoenix, and we're also getting some momentum here. We could eventually take objective 1, but it's just not enough time. And he's got a really nice pocket of strength here, and that is going to be a victory for him. So the Rock Lobbers plus the frickin' Rugloods and the Black Orcs with the Unstoppable Choppas really were the story of this game. 2,100 value there, 1,700, 1,100, and then 900 on this one, with the Rugloods getting 2,800 value as well. Beautiful play. I loved his build. I was not expecting the Rock Lobbers, and they ended up being really, really freaking good. So shout out to our boy DeVito Goblin here. I love the name. It's so good. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Well played. Value on the Wookiee, 1,700, 14 on the Phoenix, and the Sea Elemental got about 2,200. So, I think arguably maybe double Sea Elemental would be better here. I mean, they did well enough against the Boar Boy units, and the Merworm is, more of like an anti-large bully, and he had a lot of infantry too, and the Sea Elemental seemed to perform a little bit better there for like 1,000 gold less. The Merworm is 2,500, the Sea Elemental is like 18 or 17 or something. So I think double Sea Elemental going a little bit wider would be the way. The Phoenix you probably cut. Open with double Sea Elemental in this build. Cut the Phoenix, get a little bit of more, some more supporting elements, and I think you're cooking with this style. GG, well played, guys. See you around. Take care of yourselves. An awesome game by Old Taco here.